913 days, I believe. Is it 913 days? Maybe 912. Days since Richard vanished from the barracks there at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. But he didn't just vanish. Something happened, and I did a live stream on TikTok, and I thought it went pretty well because I talked about the 5 facts, just 5 facts. Of course, there are more than 5 facts in this case, but I wanted to really make sure that people knew that Richard made Child Protective Service complaints, that Richard was in possession of porn videos, that we are told that he turned in to the Child Protective Service, that the IG were all over the barracks because of Halliday. I wanted to make sure, Rob wanted to make sure that everyone knows that it's a fact that the task force was staged, that they disrespected us, that we have proof of military operations used against us, which is criminal. Asymmetric warfare tactics used against us, criminal. And of course, the Pentagon is known, and it absolutely happened, that they used psychological techniques against us to make us go away. Absolutely. The task force fined Richard Halliday, which was very expensive. It involved 15 plus agencies, had no operational order. So there was nothing expected from any of these 15 plus agencies, nothing written down, nothing collected, no due outs, no meetups, no reports at all on their findings. And that's why when Senator Cruz asked the question, well, what did they find? You said that there was a task force find Richard Halliday with 15 plus agencies, including the FBI, including the Department of Homeland Security, including the border protectors, Customs and Border Protectors, including 12 other agencies, so many, very, very important. What did they have to say? But there were no reports. There were no after action reports. There were no findings. And so the only thing that the Secretary of the Army could possibly do, and in his letter, he gave a 48-hour suspense date, okay, which was amazing. So they were to answer him within 48 hours. It took them 5 days. Took them 5 days to flip him off, literally flip him off to Director Ford at the Quantico CID. So, yeah, that is a little crazy information, but it's the truth. It's a fact, and it really is very, very criminal. And you add that to the fact that the father-in-law, who I showed in my last live stream, the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM, said that he's with the FBI, and he took a good look at that flyer at the door and said, take that flyer down because that soldier has been found. I'm with the FBI, and the FBI has found Richard in Juarez, and it's bad news. He's dead. So this is very shocking that we haven't gotten in writing the findings for all of that, because our question now is the FBI hiding the remains of our son, Richard Halliday, Distinguished Honor Graduate for Basic Training and AIT, also guidon bearer, also promoted before his peers very quickly, and the recipient of 3 AAMs in his first 14 months in the military, and also the very first CONUS DES 1 missing soldier, so designated under the new Vanessa Guillen absent soldier flowchart after they found her dismembered, burnt up, beaten, bludgeoned, covered in lime and concrete and dirt body there at Fort Hood at the Leon River. So, yeah, you would think that they would hustle. You think that there would be heels clicked together to get the answers to if the FBI is hiding the remains of our son. And why is it that a lieutenant colonel's father-in-law is saying such a thing? And we have the video, and we played that, and we have the witness testimony of the cashier. So absolutely, we need to get answers for that. We also have a special agent in the CID. Now, I didn't mention this on the TikTok live stream, but we have a special agent in the CID named Tavita Nusa that leaked files, many files. And we had an officer of the court call us and tell us, take this name down, Tavita Nusa, to Leilani Hart. Leilani Hart is the mother of First Lieutenant Dallas Hart in the 11th Brigade. Now he got out. He went green to gold and then he got out. Isn't that, well, good for him. Good for him with these mandates and everything. But we want to know what all that has to do with Richard, and we knew there were leaks. And so we looked up the officer of the court. We checked him out. We looked up Tavita Nusa to see if he was a special agent, and indeed he was there at Fort Bliss in the CID at the time. We looked up Leilani Hart, and indeed she lives in El Paso. And we looked up First Lieutenant Dallas Hart, and he exists. Grew up there. He's a native El Pasoan, which is very important in this case. So, yeah, it all seems to be questions that need to be answered, but yet they put Richard in cold case, continuing their severe and continuous retaliation against us. It wasn't enough that they did that to Richard, because they did do it indeed to Richard for turning in, going over and above and beyond the chain of command to complain to the Child Protective Services, which we have been waiting almost 2 years now. Maybe it is 2 years for them to answer our Freedom of Information request. It's called a FOIA, and they haven't answered it yet. What are they hiding? They keep putting us off. And, what are we supposed to do? Keep begging, or do they want justice? It seems like no one really fears God. Maybe they don't believe in God. They don't believe that they're going to have to face their maker. Well, I think that's all going to be sorted out, definitely. Because God is no buttercup, that's for sure. And we have found out about everything, not by the cooperation of the CID, but by Team Fine Richard Halliday, by the hand of God. The father-in-law, who we think is a FBI informant, the CID told us he's just nobody. He's just nobody. So that That was a lie. That was a lie, a big lie. And they get mad at us because we were searching for who that was. And we thought it was a certain person for a very short time. We didn't release it. We asked the general if this is him. We think it's him. But then something came up, and I found out, just help of God, where this man worked, and I called it, and that's how I found out who he was. And he is the father-in-law of the lieutenant colonel in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM. I mean, that should blow anyone away. Should blow anyone away. The other fact is that the command sergeant major said to us that he did not know he had a missing soldier on the rolls, on his rolls. Can you believe it? And another fact of this, and when you have a whistleblower who is going over and above and beyond the chain of command to another agency, the Child Protective Services, about child sex trafficking, about porn videos, and we suspect that they were made on Fort Bliss, right? On Fort Bliss, somewhere on Fort Bliss. And that's not a crazy assumption, because we had a colonel that was so bold to take his porn pictures and videos in uniform with his doggy cultish gear along with his uniform on. This is a colonel. And with others. And I'm just like, why isn't the news covering that? I just can't even imagine how someone can get away with wearing our beautiful uniform along with their cultish gear, sex cult gear, and go on our installations, our military installations that we fund, and in the buildings that we fund, the motor pool, the gyms, and take porn videos, take pictures in uniform. Very compromising. And this is a national security threat. And so was Richard doing his duty, because I remember him saying that he was like acting squad leader. Like the squad leader wasn't too swift, and he was acting squad leader. I don't know if that's true. Maybe some of the soldiers can tell me if that's true. So was Richard doing his duty? He told me, Mom, the leadership is very bad, very bad. So he didn't trust his chain of command to make the Child Protective Service complaints and turn in the porn videos to them. And that is very telling, because he was severely retaliated against by Major General Clem Coward. So how deep was Major General Clem Coward's involvement in our son's disappearance and what was going on in the barracks? Because the barracks were a mess. This is a fact too. Brigadier General David Stewart told us that the barracks were flush with weapons. We mentioned that, and the CID called us up and said, it wasn't just Richard's barracks that was flush with weapons, it was all of them. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that didn't make it better. And then we found out that even at other installations, they have a weapons problem, because the soldiers or the service members are fearing for their life, and they want to protect themselves. And so there's weapons there at their workplace, and these are like in their locker or whatever. And then we absolutely know through other cases that the barracks have become a marketplace for illegal drugs. And we know through other cases that there's rapes going on and sexual harassment going on and lots of suicides going on. And with the rape, I was told, they were told, just shut up, just shut up. And they even went higher up. And this is at Fort Bliss, and was told to shut up. So, yeah, that all needs to be investigated. There is a problem inside of our military, and everything always has been about the military as far as conquering countries. If you do not have a good defense, you're done for. You're done for. And right now, we do not have a defense at all, because our 44 four-star generals and admirals clearly are servicing foreign and domestic enemies rather than defending our Constitution. It's clear, because they've committed crimes against humanity. They've allowed this suicide problem to go on. They've allowed the weapons problem to go on. They've allowed this illegal drug problem to continue for decades. Okay, this is not a new problem. They have allowed this for decades. And I'm like, I'm not okay with that. I am not okay with that. It just shows you that who are these four-star generals and admirals working for? Because it's not like there's not enough of them to manage all of this. We have 44 four-star generals, the most in our entire history. We haven't even reached 250 four-star generals in our history. We have 44 right now. I don't even think we've reached 200. I think we have 241 in our history. I believe that's true. I'd have to look it up. And 44 right now, 7 during World War II, with millions of service members. So, yeah, that is something is not right. And I'm not going to say, oh, well, it's been like this for decades. The setting up of our military to failure, and okay, well, then we just have normalized it, and that's standard operating procedure, and we should be okay with that. I'm not okay with that now that I have found out all of this information, and our son is missing, and we don't have anyone to have his six. We don't have the Medal of Honor ethos. We don't have the esprit de corps. Matter of fact, we have shaky soldiers. They are so afraid of retaliation. That's the first thing I noticed even about Command Sergeant Major, is that he was shaking like a leaf in fall. It was just, it was really startling and concerning. And then when I stopped our car parade to talk to a soldier there at Fort Bliss about him calling out to our car parade, and he's a paralegal, and I went to his house, and he was just shaken. He was so upset. He did not want to talk to me. He did not want to talk to a mother of a missing soldier. Where's the esprit de corps? Where is the Army of One? Where is I've got your six? Where is leave no soldier behind? Where is the Medal of Honor ethos? That was not on display. He was in full-blown survival of the fittest. I got to have my own back. And that means that the 44 four-star generals have not done their job. They're up to no good. It's very, very clear. So I'm going to show you a video now of Richard, because one of the other facts that I think is startling is with this mountain lead. And we had just gotten there, and we received a phone call in Spanish. My very, very, very good friend, I count her as my sister, she speaks Spanish, so she talked to them. These two hikers, they are private, I guess, fitness trainers, personal trainers. And they specialize in hiking, and they hike the McKilligan Canyon. They know that area very well. And they said, we got this call, and they said that there was the smell of remains up in the top of McKilligan Canyon. And so we gave all that information to the CID. The CID, well, they dragged their feet. They didn't get us answers. And so Rob, they offered to take Rob up there. Rob went. He took our friend who videotaped everything. He is a very, very good cameraman. And they were not warned at all what the hike would be like, how to come, what to prepare for, not at all. And so you'll see in this video, when you're not even told to bring water, you're not told to bring food, you're not told to even what kind of shoes to wear. I think to me, at that time, it was like a setup job. And I don't know. I just think with all this other stuff that we've been set up with, I really question this. And I think it needs to be investigated. Because the very next day after this, because Rob told me he feared for his life 3 times hanging on with his tips of his fingers. They were sore, fearing for his life on this very dangerous cliff hike. And but my husband goes always over prepared or prepared. So he had the proper boots on. He had his backpack with water in it, and he shared that with our friend. And otherwise, it would have been pretty bad. But the very next day, I received a phone call from Veronica Escobar's office. And I was told we didn't realize that Rob would do so well on that hike. And I was like, well, what does she mean by that? What does she mean? Put this camera down just a little bit. What does she mean by that? This is Veronica Escobar, the representative, office that called. And I didn't understand, and it really gave me the chills. And then I was told by the person that I was talking about, who was representing Veronica Escobar, that they were personal trainers, that they were hikers, they knew them. And the other thing that was really strange is that they speak English, and I just thought, wow, that's really strange. You can make out of it what you want. This is something that I just thought made me very suspicious of Veronica Escobar after this, that her office would say something like that. And so here is the video. I'm going to play it for you. Parts of it anyway. I'll play parts because it's pretty long. Turn it on.
Oh, let me tell you, the CID. Okay, we told them on Tuesday. Oh shoot, I'm going. We told them on Tuesday about this issue, right? Mm-hmm. And they were going to contact the park rangers, and apparently they did, but I never got a follow-up report on what happened with that. So Anna kept calling. She said, we'll take you, because there's a bad odor, like something's decomposing. And so Pat goes, okay, that's fine, Rob will go. She kind of volunteered me, and then of course we're transparent, so we told Sergeant Major, and we needed the gate open, so he tried to square that away. And then all of a sudden he calls back and says, hey, the CID's going out tonight, and that was Thursday, or in the late afternoon, to check it out. Well, they did go, and they smelt the odor. Now Sunday they're going to take dogs, because it takes a while to coordinate them. Mm-hmm. And so they're going to take dogs. But it's interesting to I don't know if it's coincidental or kind of suspicious or what's wrong with this investigation.
Where that smell is it near like the road where
So
people
this
are, or is
is
it like a little bit off
that was
the,
Rob on
No,
the
we're
way.
gonna go.
off the path?
And this
We're gonna
was
go
the beginning
inside.
of the hike.
For about a mile.
Do a subpoena.
Then they're getting ready to go up.
Where are we? They're doing, and they're in pretty much good shape. Exactly. Why did they come with us
so
today?
The ladies have all the gear,
Right?
They have gloves. They have the proper shoes. They have the backpacks. And that's where they're going now.
Yeah, I don't have enough boxcars. All right.
Can you imagine if my husband didn't come prepared with those boots on?
That's why we remember this.
So when we're hiking together, the husband was waiting for us right here, and he's like trying to show us.
This
and
is
I'm like,
where the body odor is supposed to be.
Afternoon, they're supposed to come out, and they said they still could smell an odor, so that's why they're going to bring the dogs on Sunday. But it takes a couple of days to arrange that, I guess.
No dogs could go up there. Dogs could not go up there.
Aquí
I
salía
wonder
un
if the
olor muy, muy
CID ever
fuerte,
went up there.
como
That's a
cuando
good
estuviera
question.
algo
Did the CID
pesado,
climb that?
un animalito o algo, pero como si estuviera en un cuarto encerrado. Aquí está abierto, obvio, pero era tan fuerte que es como si hubiera estado encerrado el olor.
Yeah.
They gathered some evidence to give to the CID. This is amazing footage. And Louis definitely should get all the credit for this footage.
Put another packy around.
These are MREs that they found up there.
You get pictures.
So y'all, isn't that amazing footage? I just, and after Rob came home, I said, well, when I saw this footage, we'll climb any mountain. We'll go down any stream, over any river, or down any river. We will go down any valley. We will do what we need to do to find out what happened to Richard. This is what I told him. And to get the phone call the next day from Veronica Escobar's person to say, we didn't realize that Rob would do so well on that hike. I was like, well, what were you expecting? Anyway, so that is a fact that happened. We have that amazing footage to prove it. And those are really important questions. Somebody doesn't want us to know what happened to our son. Somebody in high places does not want us to know what happened to our son, because it involves the border. It involves the border at El Paso into Juarez. It involves several different people, I think powerful people. It involves, the officer of the court believes it involves child sex trafficking, narcotics trafficking, a group of people involved in that, and a ringleader. He even told us who he says hurt Richard. And I don't know. I don't know. He seems to know, but I don't know. And I wish that would come out in a press conference. We're working on that. We're working on going up to Washington, D.C. to make it worth everybody's while. Because if you don't have any authorities that are willing to help you, that all they want to do is sabotage you, then why spend the money and meet and be led astray and have these psyops, the asymmetric warfare tactics, the military operations be used against you, when all you want to know is where your volunteer son is, who was so excited and aspired to make the military career, but found out that it was very, very bad, that the leadership was very, very bad. And he decided to whistleblow. And, so we need to find out. This is the bottom line. I hope you enjoyed that. Enjoy is not the right word. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine after 900 trying to do this so often? This is not, okay, this should make you cry. This should make you cry. And what I said yesterday, go ahead and cry if you understand what's going on, that we have been betrayed by our own military, right? Go ahead and cry. But when you wake up in the morning, strap on your boots, gird your loins, and let's get to work. Put your gloves on. Let's get to work. And let's start calling our representatives. Let's start calling our authorities. Let's start calling our senators. Let's start calling the media. Let's start calling the podcasters. Let's start calling any trusted person that has a voice that can get this message out, because we need to let them know that they can't do this to our volunteer sons and daughters, that they can't do this. They can't hijack our military, because we need a defense. We need a defense to keep this country going. We need our Constitution defended to keep our freedom going. And they have left us defenseless. They have hijacked our military, and they're using our service members badly to help service foreign and domestic enemies. And, so we need to get the word out. So I hope you get up in the morning and you strap on your boots, you put your gloves on, you gird your loins, and you start making phone calls, and you start getting the word out. Thank you so much. We need to find my son, but we need to get our military back so that no one, we know that things happen. But not to, when you have all of this information and not to get answers, it's criminal. It's totally criminal. So thank you so much. And God bless you. Bye-bye.